Welcome to week 5 of Joyful Journeys. Our participants are halfway through the season at this point, and this week they are focused on how they all shine. Today, we are joined by Marie Hamilton, who has turned her love for fashion into her mission, enriching the lives of the blind, visually impaired, and disabled so that they may become the best versions of themselves through fashion. Welcome, Marie.
Hi, thank you. Thank
So
you.
tell us a little bit about yourself, the work you do as a personal stylist, and your philosophy celebrating individuality.
Okay, well, my name is Marie, and let's start off by saying, well, I grew up in the fashion industry. My mother was a professional model. She worked in DC and Washington, in New York. From there, growing up in the fashion industry, I've been a fashion stylist for, I don't know, 12 years now. I then saw a commercial for a blind person, and I wonder who dresses them. Well, there you go. And from there, I started PSU or Fabulous. So I help the blind, visually impaired, and disabled, as you said. And I love doing what I do. I really do. It's very fulfilling. It is very fulfilling. So my philosophy on celebrating individuality is, well, to say, first of all, I think you should always be true to yourself and always be proud of who you are. It's important to find your own sense of style and what makes you your unique self. It's always great to share these ideas with your friends, and you can also ask your parents how they view your uniqueness and style.
I love that. And that is definitely something that we try to teach our Girls on the Run participants, that being them is the best person that they can be, and each of their unique personality traits, everything that makes them uniquely them, is what makes them the best. And
Yeah.
so this week, that's what they're focusing on. They're learning that everyone has a unique sparkle and that everyone shines in a different way. But why do you think it's important for adults to model to children the value of embracing our own uniqueness?
Well, I think it's important for adults and parents to model to children the value of embracing their own uniqueness, for it can bring confidence and growth for the children to think outside of the boxes for themselves. I think that's very, very important. So my mom taught me about fashion, how important it is to look the best that you can. And with that said, I was able to look outside the box and develop what I'm doing, and helping individuals to be the best that they can through fashion. Yeah.
I love that. I love that you were able to take something that you grew up with that was such a big part of your life and turn it around to help other people and impact their lives in a very significant way.
Yeah, yes. Yes, it's amazing. Growing up and what your parents can teach you is very important. Yes.
Mhm. Definitely. Another facet of this week's lessons is the importance of not dulling anyone's sparkle, which is so important when we're trying to foster a community of true inclusion. And why can you just speak on the importance of embracing embracing those who society might see as different, or someone who's differently abled, and why it's so important to just look past that, include them, everything.
Yes. Well, we live in a world that has definitely different individuals with different abilities. Instead of making judgment on them, we need to embrace their differences. We can learn so much from each other. We should ask and listen and embrace their differences. And we have to learn, we can learn so much from like I did with the blind. And it has taught me never to judge a book by its cover. The individuality is so important. And you learn so much from just listening and embracing that instead of making judgment on it. It's very, very important. Yes.
Do you have any stories or favorite memories of people that you've helped that they've either shared what a difference it made in their lives, or just kind of any of those feel-good stories?
Wow, I probably have a lot. what I do. There's a couple that um stand out. Um, so working with the blind, had never done this before, had never been around a blind person. So I'll never forget the first time I put this woman in a dress. She wanted a dress for Easter. And so when I worked regularly with people who are not have any disabilities, you know, I put outfits together and they'd come out of the dressing room and they would stand proud and look in the mirror and, all that stuff. But not knowing how people who are blind would react. I will never forget the one woman when I put her in the dress. She came out and she twirled around and she looked amazing. And you could tell how she felt like she was on top of the world. That was like the best
Oh,
feeling I got. Yes, it was amazing to go through that. And I love doing it. I do. And it does make a difference. It doesn't matter the disabilities that people have. You can make them feel amazing. And it's amazing to do this with fashion. I've worked a lot with a lot of people with intellectual disabilities as well. A lot of them don't talk, but I lined up all these mannequins and all these clothes, and they came and picked out their own outfits and dressed them. What I was blown away. What an amazing feeling. And it made all of them feel amazing. So you never know. You never know. You don't know where they came from. You don't know their lives, but it's amazing just to listen and be there for them. Yes.
I love that. And I'm sure those moments are what keep you going strong.
Absolutely. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I really, really wouldn't. And I'm very blessed and thankful that my mother gave me that ability to do that. Yes.
That is very special. I'm sure that every time that you're in that personal stylist mindset, that you're reminded of your mom and little pieces of her. So that's very special.
Yes, it is. It is. It's wonderful. Yeah.
One thing that we can learn from kids is that they're often more curious than judgmental, which at some point switches when we get into adulthood a lot of the time. But when it comes to seeing each person sparkle, how can we spark this curiosity rather than judgment in adults? And how do we eliminate that judgment when we're looking at everyone's individuality?
Well, I think to spark the curiosity in adults, we need to start by communicating with one another on how to embrace each children's individuality and spark. We can start by celebrating and embracing each kid's individuality. We should also ask questions around the steps that we can take to spark the curiosity versus the judgment. I think that's really important to do that. Um, and so children are much more innocent. They don't make judgment. And I think parents need to learn and adults need to learn that more from children and listen. Yes.
I agree. I think it's so fascinating when kids are, when they don't know something or they see something for the first time and the way they ask questions about it. I mean, on one hand, they're very blunt about it because they want to know what it is, what it means, what that is to them. Um, and I think that is definitely something that we as adults can be reminded of and use in our every day to day instead of seeing something that might look different and thinking and making a judgment on it, but have that kid mindset and think, oh, well, what is it like for that person? What can I do for that person? Those types of mindsets instead.
It is, and it's amazing to watch children like that and to do those things because they are more curious. They don't make judgment, and we as adults need to learn that more instead of making it. I had never been around people who have any disabilities, and as I've gotten older and I started doing this, I'm blown away about with it and how people are just, people are just people. Most people are really, really good. They are all different, but that's what makes the world go round. And us, embracing that, the differences, we can learn so much and grow into individuals. And that's what we need instead of, everybody following everybody else. We need to have our own sparkle and our, own confidence in order to grow um, and think outside the box, because that's what makes people who they are, and that's what makes our country and the world grow. Yes.
I agree. I think it'd be pretty boring if we were all the same and didn't have any uniqueness.
I know. And unfortunately, we have the internet and stuff like that. And fortunately, we get a lot of things off of that. And that's not uniqueness. That's everybody thinking the same, or they want everybody to think the same. And we need to not have that so much. And just, the kids just need to grow and be themselves through everything, whether it be through fashion or art or sports or whatever it may be. It needs to be themselves and what makes them happy, and not what everybody else is doing. That's very, very important.
I agree. And I think that's one of the great reasons that Girls on the Run is such a great opportunity for kids, because it gives them a chance to be pulled away from that screen. It gives them a chance to create their own thoughts, their own beliefs, their own values. And it gives them a safe space to practice those things, practice new things, practice new mindsets with other kids their ages, and really just gives them a chance to create who they are.
I think it's a great thing that you're doing. And I actually recommended you to some people I know that
Oh,
have children. And I think that hopefully they'll join, and they're in Virginia too. So they're, so we'll see if that
wonderful.
happens.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
thank
'cause I think
you.
it's amazing. I think it's a great thing that it's so needed. And it's nice to know that there are people out there that care and to do that. And I think Girls on the Run is wonderful. Wonderful.
Well, thank
Yes.
you. I appreciate those kind words.
I think it's great.
Well,
Yes.
thank you so much for joining us today.
Well,
This is
thank you for inviting me. I loved it. Thank you.
This episode of Joyful Journeys is brought to you by Girls on the Run of Northern Virginia.